Hello, and welcome to another edition of Heavy Hands. I'm your host, Connor. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Phil.
Yo.
Greetings, Mr. Phil. How fare you on this fine summer's day?
Not too bad. I'm surviving. We're in another UK heat wave, but yeah, we're in between like some decent-ish UFC cards. I've finally got around to watching the Odyssey, which we've been discussing, and
Phil had to stop me complaining about the Odyssey.
We've got a UFC card with a bantamweight main event, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah. All kinds of things to be grateful for in this ongoing apocalypse that we're living through. Yeah, we've got the UFC. Mom's looking. Mom has opened the door to see if you're cleaning, and Dana White and the matchmakers have started scrambling to pretend that they're trying, just until she goes back to work or goes to hang out with her boyfriend, Uncle Ron, as he calls himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a couple of cards that are like not absolute bottom of the barrel, it's just scum level of matchmaking. Gregory Rodrigues, Anthony Hernandez, that was the main event last weekend. We will be talking about that. And honestly, quite a lot of like at least decently relevant and interesting matchups, and certainly a lot of very violent definitive results were collected on this card. Next week, we have Fight Night in Shanghai, main evented by Umar Nurmagomedov and Song Yadong. As you said, it's a bantamweight main event. It's a bantamweight contenders main event. It is automatically an interesting qualifying choice for that slot. I think we're going to kick things off talking about Nurmagomedov versus Song. There is some other stuff down the card. You know, like, I don't hate Yan Xiaonan, Denise Gomes. I don't hate Aorichi Lang, Kaya Sakura. I don't hate Jack Jenkins, Sean Woodson. There's some stuff here. But,
yeah. Sumadaji, Alex Perez.
That's cool, too.
Totally fine.
But I don't think we're going to talk about it. I think we're just going to do the main event and then collect the pieces left over from last week. So, with no further ado, Umar, Song. I think it's pretty clear what the dynamic is in this fight. We were just discussing, like, is that simply the nature of Song Yadong fights? You look at it and you're like, okay, I think I get it. You can kind of say pretty quickly, he's going to win this one. He's not going to win this one. And I'll just say right up top, I think this is in the latter category.
Yeah, I want to believe, man. I still want to believe in Song Yadong, but there's no point now. This is the fully in the tremendous and welcome surprise if he suddenly overperforms category. That there's just something that just isn't there, which means that, yeah, as you said, a lot of his fights tend to be, they tend to be straightforward physicality checks.
Yes.
You can be like, is this guy able to physically hang with Song Yadong, and do they have a focus defined game, which everyone that he's basically going to be fighting is, because this is bantamweight. We're not talking about light heavyweight randos here. But everyone has a game, but it's simply, can you compete with him physically? And if they can't, then he just thrashes them. And if they can, and they have something that they want to do, and they have a good idea of how to execute it, then they probably win. I mean, so, he's beaten Davison Figueiredo because Davison Figueiredo is old. He lost Sean O'Malley because Sean O'Malley has a functioning game and is a big athlete. He beat Henry Cejudo because Henry Cejudo is old. He lost to Piotr Jan. He beat Chris Gutierrez. He beat Ricky Simone. He lost to Corey Sandhagen. Like, we've just seen that he just beats a certain level of opponent and he loses to a certain level of opponent, and he never turns fights around when he's struggling. Not really.
Right. No, he's not. He's not an adjuster. He can't adapt. What we have learned over the last few years is that they can equip Song Yadong with 7 minutes worth of game plan, which sometimes puts him in very good stead. There have been several recent fights that were in some way defined by Song Yudong having a low kick heavy attack for at least the first round, for example.
Yep.
But if the fight gets out of control, he's just going to go back to par. He's just going to go back to the mean, more or less. And yeah, what that sort of clear bifurcation of his record tells you is that everybody who is in this division who is on Song Yudong's level physically is well above his level tactically, mentally, however you want to frame it. All the guys that he is like, that are his peers as athletes, are just smarter, more flexible, better fighters than him.
Yeah.
And that's why you look at a matchup like this and you're like, okay, is Umar Nurmagomedov an elite level athlete? Yes. I don't even have to think about if he's a better, smarter fighter than Song Yudong at that point. I know he is. He is. That does, however, bring us to the other wrinkle, which I can't tell if it makes this fight more or less interesting to me. You mentioned before, Phil, that it feels like Umar Nurmagomedov is perhaps regressed. And I agree. Yep. I don't think Umar Nurmagomedov, he doesn't seem like a guy who's able to look at himself the same way since that fight with Merab. And look, we said that about Pyotr Yan. It doesn't mean it's forever. Especially now that Merab has been vanquished. It probably is a huge weight off of Umar's chest. But I think it's pretty clear in these matchups, like he seems to have a much more preservative approach to his fights now than he did before. When he fought Corey Sandhagen, like he wasn't like chasing risk and like throwing himself into the Sandhagen's teeth constantly, but he was just so confidently controlling that fight. He was so relaxed and in charge, and nothing Corey Sandhagen did ever spun into like a build of momentum on his part. It was all Umar just feeling like he's the best guy in the world. And the fights since that, again, very impressive loss to Merab, where he was really fighting him tooth and nail the whole way. Since then, we've seen now 2 times Umar has come out and sort of had to convince himself that he can do something other than just wrestle and hold top position. And I don't know. Yeah, to me that just says loss of confidence more than anything. I don't know that there's any like technical regression, particularly in that Mario Bautista fight. He kind of rediscovered the boxing that we fell in love with when he beat Sandhagen as that fight went on. But he had to like build
very late, yeah.
Very late. He had to build himself up to the point where he was like, oh, I'm actually just completely winning. And then he started to apply his whole game again.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a very kind of like, please don't hit me. Please don't make me work too hard. Please, can you just stay there on your back so I can, everything's okay kind of feel to both that and the Davison Figueiredo fight.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because, and I do think that is, should that be the case, I do think that does tilt things slightly in the favor of Song Yudong, which again, if you are somebody who watches Song Yudong and you want to cope as everyone always does, you might be thinking maybe he can do it. Because so many of the elements of Umar Nurmagomedov's game, that he, as you said, like he basically beat Corey Sandhagen on the feet. Like the wrestling was a nice bonus.
Yeah.
But his ability to control from range, strike from both hands, jab, throw long strikes, and then draw people draw people forward and then hit takedowns on them. Like just a long, rangy, accurate game seems like it would play super well on a plodder.
Absolutely. If I had any reason to think he would do exactly what he did against Sandhagen here, I might actually pick him to get like a finish. Like I think that would break Song Yudong down so thoroughly that he would be cooked by the 5th round of this fight.
Yeah. But as it stands, I do feel like the current version of him, and again, like you said, it's been the Merab, the boogeyman, is no longer, has been vanquished.
Mhm.
Umar can like really tell himself now, you're the best in the world, and he can find a way to believe it in the way that I don't necessarily think that he did in
Mhm.
those past two fights. He can find a lot of that confidence again, as we saw like Jan himself did. So, hopefully we can see, the guy who looked like he was, the best bantamweight in the world coming
Right.
back. But should he decide to just do the Batista thing of just like back up, shoot takedowns, all that kind of stuff, it is worth noting that like Song Yadong is probably like a slightly less skilled scrambler than Mario Batista. Meaning, takedowns will mean
A lot of
more
people are less
to
skilled
get
scramblers than Batista, but
exactly. But he does have better first line takedown defense.
pretty nasty.
He has a very
first-level
good
takedown defense.
first line takedown defense, which is something that Batista has simply just never really had.
Yeah.
And it's not impregnable. Once again, like Corey Sandhagen, and again, this speaks to the approach that Umar Nurmagomedov needs to have here. Corey Sandhagen needed to draw strikes out of Song to keep him moving forward, and then hit him with takedowns in order to like disrupt his base and get him to overextend. As we've mentioned before, Song, always overswings. If you can get him to commit, you can hit his hips, and it doesn't really matter how good his takedown defense is.
Yeah.
But if Umar is simply backing up and shooting on him, there is a good chance that Song simply sprawls on him like a bunch. And Song is also a nuclear puncher, just like a big, dangerous hitter. And one of the things about that Umar Batista fight is that he did level change directly into a kick at some point, right? And did get knocked down.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he got badly buzzed at some point. He still has, obviously, like an incredible chin.
Yeah. He also got buzzed in a pre-Sandhagen fight. I want to say Azat Maxim, maybe?
Yeah.
Bekzat Almakan. How could I confuse those names?
Yeah. So yeah, I do feel like it's primarily a like strategic. The strategic approach from Nurmagomedov will determine how easy this fight is.
Yeah.
But it is also like the problem is that like even if he fights like he did in the Batista fight, I think I'd probably still end up picking him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because
it was good enough to beat Mario Batista, who is a better fighter than Song Yadong. Like it just kind of is.
I mean, he would still struggle mightily with Song Yadong, but yes. It's just the fact that Song runs out of ideas. That he's going to have a first layer of kind of excellence that he will deliver in a fight, and then it will crack, and then it will be gone, and he will not be able to adapt to what is happening.
Right.
At the very least, like Umar demonstrated that he could bring his striking back a bit against Batista, that he could start to open back up again. And he's just, he just doesn't look like Song does in his fights when he's, you don't get the impression that he's simply running out of ideas.
Right.
Got gassed out by Merab, but you didn't get the impression that he was, he just sort of reverted to plodding around trying stuff.
Yeah, he was still flowing.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, Yadong is another one of these guys that just, you almost know that, I mean, especially against elite competition, his first round is going to be his best one.
Yep. And if Umar's recent fights or anything go by, that will be his worst one.
Yep.
But, like, he will very much, unlike Song Yadong, if anything, have more and more ideas as the fight goes on. So I guess if you're going to pick Song Yadong, you really got to expect him to have a career-redefining performance or to finish Umar in the first round and a half. And,
essentially.
Neither of those feel likely. to say the least.
Yeah. Again, I would like to see Song Yadong do well here, just because, again, just always want to see him do well.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that, like, Umar himself was like talking about how he's just a punching bag, and then saying things about Yadong's fights that made me think that he didn't actually watch or remember them. Because he was talking about, what was he talking about? He was talking about how he got out wrestled by someone who he just didn't get out wrestled by or something. Like, it was one of these things where I remember looking at it and like, oh, you just sort of skimmed over this. And he was like, this guy's a punching bag. And I don't think he is. He's a tremendously skilled, very dangerous fighter who in moderate ways has improved lately. But it's just the fact that he's he just can't go into deep waters. He hasn't demonstrated that he can. Every time he does, the quality fighters at the top of the division simply find the answer to what he's doing, and he can't find another answer to come back.
Every single one of them outsmarts him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the difference between Song Yadong and the other fighters, again, with whom he is clearly physical peers. Is that they... And I'm not saying this is a measure of like actual intelligence to the extent that you can even measure that. I just mean in a very fight-specific way, how good are you at thinking up solutions and recognizing threats? On that level, they all outsmart him. Every single one.
Yep.
And I just don't see how Umar is just clearly a pretty smart fighter. Again, like our concern about him is him not realizing just how much he can do right away. And then by the end of the fight, remembering, oh yeah, I can do all this other stuff too. Like, that's so much better than the problem Song Yadong has been wrestling with his entire MMA career.
Yeah.
To the extent that it's hopefully and even somewhat likely just a phase for Umar. It's just a recalibration for him. Song Yadong is like, there's no, I don't know, it's like a block of metal. Like, there's no recalibration possible. It is what it is. You put it there, and it sits where you put it.
Yep. Yeah. If you're a Song Yadong believer, a true Song Yadong believer in this day and age, you have my respect, but also my sympathy and kind of my pity.
You're pathetic.
I respect that you believe in your guy, but there's good reason to believe that he's just never making that. He's never gonna make that jump. Again, as with every time we say it, I would love to see him do it, but never really been proved wrong so far.
I think he would win if he would walk out to the excellent Kenny Garrett tune, Sing a Song of Song. And if I get one person listening to this show to go check out that Kenny Garrett tune, I will have succeeded. Because it's a good one.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Let's take a break. We're picking Umar. Everyone's picking Umar. When we come back, Anthony Hernandez. It's over. It's over for Anthony Hernandez.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about that next. Hey, thanks for listening to this week's Heavy Hands. If you like what you hear, you might consider supporting us on our frankly underpriced Patreon. Not that what you find on there is particularly good, but it is only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/heavyhands to find fight commentaries, bonus episodes, and more as often as we can be bothered to post them. Patreon.com/heavyhands. We hope you enjoy. Now, back to the show. Fluffy Hernandez, Phil? More like stuffy, because this guy's takedowns got stuffed.
Wow. There's a new job for you on the commentary team. There's a role opening up. They need a Mike Goldberg type guy now.
They replaced Dean Thomas with a dumbass who says puns. We're gonna throw to Connor right now. Connor, what do you got for us? I don't have one ready. Anytime they throw to me, I gotta think of it. Hold on, give me a second. Come back to me. Yeah. This was a good fight. First of all, career best performance, I would say, on the part of Hobocop Rodrigues, and it didn't really feel shocking, actually, to see Hernandez lose this one the way he did. I kind of thought going in that Rodrigues had a really good shot. I did expect him to gas at some point, but the reality of the matchup was that Anthony Hernandez had the devil of a time trying to make Gregory Rodrigues gas because he did not have any way of actually imposing a pace on him. The wrestling was almost completely nullified. And because of that, it was basically Anthony Hernandez doing way more work in those clinch positions than Rodrigues was having to do. And then on the feet, Anthony Hernandez could not impose a pace because he was let down by his defense, basically. How are you supposed to keep a pace on somebody if every time you step into range, he hits you first, and then you have to skitter back completely out of range again? So, I think the dynamic was sort of established by about round 2 of this fight, and then the rest of it was just, honestly, still very impressive. Gregory Rodrigues maintaining, making a couple of clutch calls, surviving 1 or 2 scary spots, and otherwise just like listening to Henry Hooft's corner advice and keeping the pressure on Hernandez and, using his jab. Worked really well.
Yep. Yeah, so we didn't talk about this one, did we?
No.
And yeah, this was one of the ones where I saw it like being booked, and I was like, sure, Fluffy's gonna get this one. He's typically beaten a better level of opponent. He's had sort of more of a defined upwards trajectory over the last few years than Hobocop, etc. And then I thought about it a bit, and I was like, wait, is he?
Yeah.
Like, is he actually the kind of fighter who beats someone like Hobocop? Because, I mean, Hobocop is, broadly speaking, just like a straight-up dynamism check.
Definitely.
Like,
middleweight Song Yadong, baby.
What's that?
Middleweight Song Yadong.
Not even so much as that. Like, not even like you need to be able to physically compete with him kind of thing, and then he runs out of ideas. But just like you just punch him in the face, fall down, go boom. Like, are you able to do that? You're probably going to beat him.
Yeah.
Can you just hit him in the face really hard? He's he asks the same questions at a much lower level of basically everything. That's like Charles Oliveira.
Right.
He's just like huge for the weight class. If you hang around for any kind of length of time, he's just going to unload terrifying offense on you at pretty much every phase of the fight. Yep. But if you can just run up to him and hit him in the face, and you're not, you're durable enough to take the return fire, you're often just gonna like hurt him or badly sleep him. So Jared Cannonier, for example, classic example of someone who was just a poor matchup for him because he was just going to walk up to him and hit him.
Yeah, and also the Cannonier fight had another element, which again is why I did pick Hernandez. If you don't just knock him out like that, you are going to tax him very badly.
Yeah, you're going to badly hurt him.
Yeah, wear him out. Like, that's the other aspect of Hobocop's UFC career, and definitely a part of that Cannonier fight is like he doesn't have the same. His intensity is definitely at a maximum and then is permanently declining after round 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have to be able to impose something on him, whether it's, hitting him hard, or, this is one where I became less and less confident in my Hernandez pick the closer the actual date of the fight became, because I just kept thinking, like, is wrestling any kind of way to beat Gregory Rodrigues? Is there any indication Now, some of that is because he hasn't fought a lot of great wrestlers, but truly, like, is that a viable way to force him to tire? Because if you can't get through that first layer, you're just kind of doing more work than him, and he's just resting. And that was kind of what the fight became. Hernandez just couldn't.
Yeah,
he's not a dynamic enough takedown.
He's willing
threat.
to hit. Yeah, he's willing to hit like level change type shots. He's willing to throw uppercuts and so on. He's super nasty himself from top position, so you have to really be minding your P's and Q's. You cannot sell out on takedowns.
Yep.
As Fluffy found out, you cannot just like go to the ground with this guy and then things will be fine. There's a good chance he will sit on you. And again, he's much bigger than Fluffy. He once again, like Fluffy, showed that he's immensely mentally tough, but he's vulnerable to like attritional damage. In this case, he was getting like calf kicked a whole bunch.
The body shots were hurting him too, but I was actually surprised none of them really badly hurt him. But the body shots were very effective, but the low kicks were like comically effective. I can't actually recall a fight recently where somebody has been that just destroyed by low kicks. Like,
he got knocked down like 4 times,
Yeah.
5.
I think like the second or third one that landed knocked him down, and then every successive one knocked him down after that. It was crazy. Excellent shot selection on the part of Gregory Rodrigues to pick that up and to stay on it. He actually brought it back even after Hernandez switched. He kept wanting to go back to his, normal stance, and Rodrigues brought it back a few times late in the fight too when the opportunity presented itself. He did not forget about it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Super fun fight. Like, I mean, I'm super impressive by Fluffy to even make that a fight after the sheer amount of damage that got put on him in rounds.
Oh my God,
1 and 2.
Round 2, I thought he was done. The fact that this went to a decision is insane.
Yep.
But it went to a decision at basically the adjustment he had to make was to take this one vulnerability away and therefore just have much worse defense to everything else. He's not a southpaw.
Yep.
He clearly has no useful experience fighting as a southpaw. And I still think. I mean, I don't know. Is this because Hernandez is coming off a loss? Is this just the physicality check working differently? I still think there's a version of this fight where he could have actually turned it around. But it would have meant accepting like a truly life or death exchange. A series of them. Because is it the end of the second round when he unleashes that fucking crazy salvo on Rodrigues, or is that not till round 3?
I think it's round 3.
I'm going to double check here real quick. No, it's literally the end of round 2. The round where he gets his legs chopped out ends with him throwing 1-2, 1-2 hooks, and Rodrigues displaying atrocious fight IQ, stands up tall, squares himself, and starts trying to trade. And Hernandez is hurting him. He could have forced that, I think, and been effective on Rodrigues. But it's obviously a lot to ask because that means, like, obviously, to accept that means just accepting getting hit super fucking hard and completely clean, because the reason he didn't go back to that is he kept trying to preserve himself. And the only way he had of preserving
I don't
himself...
think you can look at this fight and be like, the problem is, Fluffy, you weren't courageous enough.
Right. No, of course not. Yeah.
If you just gone for it. I think it's just it just ended up being a very tough match for him, I think.
Yep.
Just Hobocop's ability to maintain, I think, more so than almost anything else, just did impress me more than anything that we've seen from him. Like, after that round 3, you might have thought, it's going to go downhill again. But he just managed to keep it all together. And Yeah, I think it's just the fact that, with those exchanges like where Hobocop is standing up with his chin in the air and Fluffy just gets to unload on him. The fact is that like there's just a lot of fighters where if Hobocop does that to them, they will just sleep him.
They're gonna kill him. Yeah, exactly.
And Hobocop is, he's called out like he would like to fight Dricus, and I don't need to see that. I just don't want to see that fight. It would just be pointless because I think that's exactly what would happen at some point.
Yeah. I think it would probably still be fun. I'd be okay with seeing that.
That would be fun. Yeah, you wouldn't.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be an entertaining fight, but it would also just be,
Yeah.
I think it would just be Dricus rather predictably sleeping him.
Right, just waiting for Dricus to hit his limit break.
Yeah. Fluffy, despite this particular style matchup and performance, still I think probably a more compelling matchup for Dricus than Rodrigues is.
Oh, I'd love to watch Fluffy Dricus. Yeah, you could do that right now, even after 2 losses, and I would still call that a cool, interesting matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although on the other hand,
I think I heard not quite a post-fight rationalization, but people were like, you looked a bit small out there, Fluffy, and you considered going down to welterweight. And he was like, no, I can't do that. We tried doing it. And I'm like, my bones weigh 10 pounds, and the rest of me, that's like 175 pounds of muscle. It's like, I don't think that's how it works, Fluffy. And also, that is not true.
My bones weigh 10 pounds.
Yeah, his bones weigh 10 pounds. Yes.
No, they don't. Surely they're at least a third of your body weight, at least.
Nope, 10 pounds. Also, everything, the rest of it,
of
it is entirely muscle.
Everything else is visibly not muscle. I'm not saying I think the guy should drop down.
Look at him against, for example, the man he fought last, Gregory Rodrigues.
Yeah. That guy's all muscle.
That guy is 95% muscle or whatever it was that you were trying to say. Like he's closer to it than you are. Even him, but he doesn't have 10-pound bones.
Yeah.
But yeah, you no, Fluffy. This is not true. It's not true.
10-pound bones is so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. It's just such a specific and clearly.
It's just got a kind of cadence to it. Yeah. 10-pound bones.
Oh, you weigh your 10-pound bones, and what do you get? The song is no longer called 16 tons. It's now called 10-pound bones. Yeah. No, but let me be clear. I don't think the guy should drop down to 170. A guy who's
also like there's good fighters at 170.
Yeah, the fighters are better, and he's so dependent on his durability that I don't know that a drastic weight cut would be good at all for him. Yeah, I just don't know. I think really, I think even with just this exact level of wrestling and his inherent stick-to-itiveness, if Hernandez just developed some better boxing skills, I think it would really, really level up his game. Because what he desperately needed in this fight was a way to maintain the pressure without just being like on the verge of death at all times. And that is what the range striking became. He could not survive giving Rodrigues any space, but neither was he able to just overpower him with nothing but clinch wrestling. The takedowns he got on him were like surprise takedowns that came out of exchanges in like little momentary resets. He could have taken Rodrigues down if he was able to keep pressure cooking him on the feet, but he couldn't.
Yep.
So, entertaining fight, very impressive performance by Rodrigues. Excellent shot selection. Couple silly mistakes, of course, but I thought he had a very, very credible performance, and I think pretty clearly his best yet. It's just one of his best wins. Well, we got a little time before we have to break. Let's talk about one more fight, which, speaking of early Handies nominees, I'm not sure who's going to take the worst brain thinking prize from Roman Dolidze.
He
immediately pulled guard to chase leg locks on Reinier de Ridder. Immediately. Grabbed him, jumped up into the air, and sat his ass down. That is such a comically bad idea. I can't. Dominic Cruz was in the commentary booth like, I just don't know. What was he thinking? Why did he do that?
He's at light heavyweight now, so he's...
Yeah.
So the people he's fighting are bigger.
I already recorded that in my...
So he should pull guard on them more.
Yeah. Well, it worked well at middleweight. Imagine how well it'll work up here.
Yeah, he's going to be so much stronger.
I immediately recorded that one on my Handy's document as Roman Dolidze tries to scholars mate a grandmaster.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was. A laughably stupid decision. And he just immediately started getting fucked up by Reinier de Ridder. Why would you give that man top position in round 1?
Leg entanglements as well.
Yeah.
It's
all he's got.
Huge, tall grappler. Yeah, of course. I mean, he is obviously competing with stuff like Conor McGregor this year.
Yeah.
And, simply sprinting out and immediately blowing his own leg out. But yeah, it was pretty bad.
I mean, that's a considerably less foreseeable outcome than what will happen if I immediately lay down on my back against this expert submission grappler.
Yeah. Even his hero and inspiration, presumably, what's his face? The Scottish grappler light heavyweight grappler who retired. Paul Craig, yeah, of course. Even Paul Craig would try and soften people up on the feet before, diving for legs, etc.
Of course. Yeah, so excellent performance from Reinier de Ridder. Not that it was much of a test to pass.
It was like, yes, a gift-wrapped opponent where it was like, I've been struggling to land my takedowns on.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It's sort of like I sat there. I watched somebody order 2 slices of pizza, consume them both, and then I said, "Excellent performance."
Yeah, well done.
The pizza didn't stand a chance.
Yep.
Looked good.
Yeah, just went out there and just sacrificed himself on the altar of Reinier de Ridder.
Yep. So that's that. There's a couple other things to talk about, but I guess it'll wait for next segment. We could talk about Carly Judice. We could talk about the big upset win that Jamal Emmers got over Larion Douglas. We got a KO of the year contender, I think, in Shamil Gaziev versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. Yeah, I mean, it was aesthetic and also very stupid. We can decide whether that's best or worst KO of the year when we talk about it after those. Oh, Chanel Dyer, too. We should talk about Chanel. Supporting us on Patreon is great, but there are other, even easier ways to support the show. In fact, you can follow this simple 2-step plan. Step 1, make a friend. Any friend at all. Step 2, tell them about Heavy Hands. In lieu of that, you could leave a positive rating or review for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Back to the show. Welcome back to Heavy Hands. I've got a cat wailing somewhere in another part of the house. Hopefully that's not audible. It is to me. We have a lot of undercard action to get through here. This card really benefited from the scrutiny that I was able to give it on the vivisection last week with that idiot Zane Simon. Shut the fuck up!
The cat and Zane, obviously.
Jesus Christ. You hear this shit?
I think the cool thing is that, like, a lot of the time you can't hear the cat. So it just makes you sound like you're an insane person. Just that you're just an incredible schizophrenic. Just shut up! Shut up!
That's enough out of
Sometimes
you.
You can hear it, but it's honestly, it's better the times when you can't. Because you just, get the impression that you're listening to a lunatic.
Which you are. Just not actually that kind. But yeah, talking about this one with Zane, I was like, you know what? There's actually a lot of little interesting sort of micro stories playing out here. You know, Marquel Medeiros, Mason Jones. Like, these are a couple of, like, almost good enough to be real UFC level fighters. Carly Judice getting a dangerous athletic opponent. That's cool. I want to see Carly Judice still getting worked out, still getting tested. Larion Douglas.
I mean, this card was also just like, it was just booked to be like a good time.
Yes, yeah.
I think.
A good time, and also like a...
You know, with some obvious exceptions.
Yeah.
You know, it's got, you know, Sergey Spivak or whatever.
Yeah.
But he lost. But also, like, again, I've said it so many times, don't book heavyweights in prominent spots this year.
Heavyweight title fights
stop it.
only.
Stop it. It's not working. The only one who is like consistently fun is, for God knows what reason, Josh Hockett. Like, everyone else has just been stinking up the joint to an unimaginable degree. Stop it.
Yeah.
But all the rest of it, like, you know, even if there were like nominally grapplers in the fights, they were like super fun grapplers. So yeah, it was mostly just like booked to be it was booked to be like fun and violent, and it kind of was fun and violent.
I agree. I think it delivered, and we had, deliberate or not, a lot of showcases for interesting fighters as part of that cavalcade of violence. Let's start off, I suppose, with Carly Judice, the newest sweetheart of me and all the guys who think exactly like me. You know who I'm talking about. Our kind.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. All of us disgusting reprobate sickos love Carly Judice because she's the only interesting fighter at women's flyweight. But she's a cool striker, you know? She's out there doing her little, like, oh, this is the direction the TJ Dillashaw movement could have gone if everyone didn't immediately start hating TJ Dillashaw. The stance switching, the little firing a shot and then cutting angles, coming back in from that angle, working the body, doing everything. She's cool. And and yet she still clearly needs more time. And it's almost a bit of a, in a very small way, a sort of a letdown that she was able to just kind of nuke Jesla Chaves. I was going to say with one perfect body shot, but in fact, she was hurting her to the body the entire fight. From the first time, I think she threw a knee, or maybe it was a left hand, she got a reaction. Her corner noticed and told her, hurt to the body, and she stayed on it very diligently, just kept plugging away. And yeah, it's no accident that she got the win she did. She saw that she was winning and took advantage. Very smart. So many young
also,
prospects.
Thinking, how many of our listeners were around at the time when there was that brief surge of people calling stance switching neo footwork?
Neo footwork. Oh my God.
Footwork.
I forgot about neo footwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dominic Cruz had just invented it, and it was the best thing.
Yeah.
Also, I did, and people were like, "Is this going to be the new thing?" And it's as it sort of, you know, tends to be. It sort of was.
Oh yeah.
You know, a bunch of people learned to stance switch a bit.
Absolutely.
And
stance switching
some
is
of them.
so much more common in MMA than in any other striking sport, even non-boxing ones. Yeah, it's a big part of the sport.
But also, you know, everyone obviously didn't start fighting like TJ Dillashaw or Dominic Cruz.
No.
And many of the people who did not do
didn't work out.
Didn't go well.
Yeah.
But
the more typical MMA stance,
paleo footwork, classic footwork, vintage, trad footwork.
Yeah. I would say the stance switching is and has always been a part of it, but the typical MMA stance switcher looks a lot more like Marquel Medeiros. I don't know if you watched that one, but like he's just kind of like most guys who are switching stances are doing it sort of formlessly, or they're doing it because their leg is destroyed, like Anthony Hernandez did in the main event. Carly Judice is actually out here cutting angles and giving deceptive entries. She's also, like Dillashaw did, mixing this up with tons of feints, which are a huge component of her success. Is that it's actually very difficult for her opponent to catch the timing on what are essentially some very big, obvious moves that she likes to make. But the deception makes them effective. And yeah, I would have liked to see more. That's really my only complaint with this performance from Judice. It's hardly her fault. She did what she was supposed to do, but I thought Chaves was actually kind of an interesting, dangerous opponent for her. Somebody much rawer, but a clear peek at like the upper echelon of physicality that Judice will be tangling with more and more if she continues to win. And
nope, she simply looked almost immediately cowed.
Yep.
And
yep.
Yeah. I mean, Judice was a substantial favorite, right?
Mm-hmm. She was.
I mean, but yeah, that's fine. Both of the fights on this card, like featuring prospects in the actual functional women's divisions, which can have prospects nowadays. I don't mind people getting to see showcase performances.
No. And on that note, why don't we, in fact, just mention Chanel Dyer's performance right now while we're on the subject of women excelling. Chanel Dyer was curiously in the curtain jerker slot here. I don't know, like she just had her UFC debut not long ago. It was extremely impressive. But like, do they not want people to care about women's strawweight again? Or I don't know. I suppose this is a tradition of the UFCs to just not allow anybody to be on the main card until by accident they make themselves a star.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got an exciting looking prospect in one of your divisions, you should, whilst they're still not earning any money, you should, and they've pretty much never fought outside of Europe, you should just send them over to Sacramento. What could go wrong? Send them over to Sacramento in an absolute the fight that no one's going to be watching.
Yeah. Put them underneath Jackson McVeigh versus Wesley Schultz. Make sure you do that.
Put them underneath Drill. He did at least win.
He did win. He did not have to walk backwards into hell.
Nope. Nor did he shrink into a corn cob.
But I think he did fuck the flag. But Chanel Dyer, I don't look. There's a lot of the Connor style perverts out there. I think are a lot much bigger Muay Thai lovers than me. Everybody knows I'm Mr. Boxing. I have some issues with Chanel Dyer's technique. She's super front foot heavy. That's actually kind of weird for a Muay Thai stylist, but she's super front foot heavy. Her chin is constantly up in the air, and she is constantly squaring herself up. She comes across as being a little stiff and a little too spring-loaded for her own good. On the other hand, she's giant for the division. She is a lightning fast and very powerful striker, and she's got 3 distinct effective ranges on the feet.
Yep.
So she's so clearly miles ahead of every other, if there even are any other striking specialist prospects in this fucking division. And she went in there and Judice Chaves, I thought Reed was a very reasonable test. Here's somebody who's clearly has proven not to be an elite strawweight in the UFC, but nonetheless is very tough, has been through plenty of difficult fights where she needed to draw on some courage and some durability, and she is herself a fairly dynamic and occasionally quite dangerous striker. And as it turned out, much like Judice versus Chaves, Dyer just immediately took over, and Reed could not. She was cowed, as you said about Chaves. She couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, as I said, both of those, I don't mind seeing showcases and seeing seeing prospects working out, especially,
Yeah.
Given that the UFC did not necessarily seem like it was making any attempt to actually
to build prospects.
cultivate them in any way whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, these were both reasonable showcases. Like both of these women were big favorites, but both of their opponents, if they had not taken them seriously, could have proved dangerous. But both of them took their opponents extremely seriously, and once they saw an opening to finish, did not let it go.
Yep.
So, fantastic performances from both of those women. We had a couple other upsets on this card. I said big before the break. I'm not really sure I can't recall how big of an underdog Jamal Emmers was, but Larion Douglas came into this card on the back of an eye-catching knockout win over Julian Erosa, where he just shredded him with little more than a shotgun jab. And Jamal Emmers is just... would it surprise you, Phil, if I told you that he's one of Zane's favorite fighters?
No, he looks kind of...
Seems like a Zane type of guy.
Yeah. He just needs to look... He needs people to be... He's basically Patrick Wyman, but without the honesty a lot of the time, Zane. He wants... Pat would just want someone who was...
He's closeted Patrick Wyman.
muscular and sexy, but Zane needs them to have a little bit of a cool edge.
Yeah. Well, Zane likes...
He's he wants the muscles of the jock, but but he also wants them to have a little bit of a cool edge to them.
Right. He likes the guys that Patrick Wyman would have liked if only they didn't suck.
Yeah.
Zane likes when the buff athletes are kind of shit. But anyway, Jamal Emmers, a long-time featherweight sort of dark horse, who really, if you look over his record, there's a lot of shocking and impressive wins, and they are all sandwiched between some really humiliating, lopsided defeats. And this looked like it could have been trending in that direction because Jamal Emmers was out there making a case for the distinction between good footwork and lots of footwork. However, it did yield a result, which is that Larion Douglas, despite doing a really good job of cutting off the cage, constantly keeping himself in front of Emmers, he was not able to get comfortable at a distance where he could set his feet and sit down on those hard, straight punches that he likes to throw. And on the few occasions when he did sit down, it was often too late, and Emmers had already skirted out to one side or the other. And I think that's kind of how Emmers ended up getting him. He got Douglas continually edging into range and then sort of hesitating, is he going to be there? Is this the time to throw? And that little lag allowed Emmers to line him up for a nasty counter right hand. It basically made Douglas's excellent jab a little predictable. Made the timing on it a little predictable.
Yep.
So?
Yeah, not much to say. He just pulled him into one big shot, and that turned out to be the end of it. Again, not something that really gives you a good handle on how either guy is going to do in future.
No,
because
I know that Jamal Emmers will lose his next fight. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And similarly, Larion Douglas still looks very impressive, but we've just shown that if nothing else, he can be pulled into slightly dangerous fights, and he doesn't have unbreakable durability to bail him out. Yeah.
Watch that Larion Douglas fight and the Carly Judice fights back to back, and really take note of how much work Carly Judice does when she's not actively throwing. All the feints, all the little tests of range. Feints is a very broad term. It covers a dozen distinct moves that Judice can mix in and throw in, and that to manipulate the opponent's sense of range and rhythm and everything. As I've said before, most of the fight happens when the fight isn't happening. And that's where you see the really good fighters, the people who are winning outside the exchanges. And Leron Douglas, he came close to controlling that fight even outside the exchanges, but he didn't have that next level of sophistication to actually, prevent Emmers from just timing him with a deadly shot.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Padilla got another upset, beating Nasrat Haqparast, another Zane Simon favorite, Chris Padilla. And this Chris Padilla is much more in the Rebush wheelhouse, I think, of types of fighters I tend to gravitate towards. He's clearly not on the physical level of even a guy like Nasrat Haqparast. Mm-hmm. He's slower on his feet. His hands are slower. He doesn't hit as hard. However, he's just like a really flexible, poised, competent fighter. And right from the outset, he succeeded in dragging Nasrat Haqparast into a pace that was frankly not very good to watch, but was certainly not the kind of fight Nasrat Haqparast typically has with people. And that pace did slowly but surely build into some serious pressure. And then he also lucked out, catching Haqparast trying to dip straight back out of the pocket in round 3 with a counter, and then sort of standing arm triangled his ass. He did take him down to finish it, but weirdly awesome finish for such a real, like, a Mirror Crow Cop style fight, you know?
Yeah.
All the cool shit happens right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a tepid fight that even, the final is one of those ones, you watch the final round, all of it, because, Haqparast tries to fight back once
the whole final round is cool, yeah.
Yeah, the whole final round is cool. The stuff for I was, we've said this before again, like Song Yadong, but way worse. Nasrat Haqparast game is just broken.
Yeah,
it's been broken. It is broken. It is, it's worse than Song Yadong by like some measure.
Oh, certainly.
Because all he's going to do in almost any fight is, I mean, this was essentially the same flaws that were exposed by Killen Salkild, albeit to a much lesser extent, because Haqparast is just going to follow people around, and he's going to throw away his right hand, and then he's going to throw a left, and nothing means anything apart from the left hand.
Absolutely. Yeah, Padilla
he's
knew
never
that.
Throwing anything that isn't the left hand. So essentially, if you just wait for the points when he's not throwing his left hand, you just get free offense on him.
Yep.
He might block it. It might a free range offense to boot. He might block it. It might not land cleanly, but you can just kick him basically from distance. And yeah, that's essentially what that fight was. Is that Padilla would like kick him once, Haqparast would come in, and then he'd throw like 2 pouring jabs, which Padilla would completely ignore, and then he'd throw a left hand, and Padilla would move away from it, and that was it. That was the first 2 rounds, and then he got clipped, and the fight became briefly cool and ended with an awesome finish.
Yeah. But given that, there's always a curve for me with guys like Padilla. That, like, I think he needed to have a shitty fight to beat Nasrat Haqparast. If Haqparast was able to just say, okay, I'm going to walk through whatever and just pour the offense on, I think he could have outpaced Padilla.
I mean, again, as I've said many times before, there's only so much I'm willing to criticize people for having boring fights when they are clearly winning, which he was.
Right.
Like, those first 2 rounds were very easy to score for him. And yeah, if you can win a boring fight, win a boring fight. You don't have many, you're not going to be around for long. And for all that they say, you need to make yourself stand out. Losing is absolutely catastrophic. So yeah, I can't hate on it. It was just,
and you got to give him some marks as well for the fact that when it stopped being a boring fight was when Haqparast said fuck it and tried to really win. And at that point, Padilla responded in kind. He was not a prisoner to his own shitty pace. The pace was the point. He wanted to slow Haqparast down, and then he needed to punish him, and he did. So, I think a pretty remarkable series of performances in the UFC so far from Chris Padilla, given that he is clearly not like an amazing top-level athlete.
Yep.
But he's
having freaky long arms helps, though.
Yes, definitely. And on that note, I'm going to give him even more additional extra credit for repeatedly using his jab against a southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Chris.
Yep.
I think that's it. Kennedy and Nzechukwu
we got to mention Shamil Ghazi.
What do you
Kennedy
think?
Nzechukwu.
Good or terrible KO?
It's difficult to say. It's kind of both, right?
Yeah, right to the line. Because it looks so stupid.
Yeah.
Leading up to it is so stupid, but there's something.
But the thing is that, like, normally our bad KOs are because the person delivering the KO, like, you know, windmills around and then knocks the other guy out with something dumb. But in this case, you're just watching Kennedy Nzechukwu and you're like, what are you doing, bro? Who exactly do you think you are? I think, you know, I've seen other people on Twitter, random in Jack Slack, saying like, he'll just try a new style every fight, and it doesn't matter how successful it is or not. He's still going to try a new one the next time. And this time he was clearly just like,
I'm Roy Jones.
Today I am Roy Jones or MVP or you know, one of these guys. I'm the slickest guy in the world, and he slipped one punch.
Yep.
Shamil Gaziev simply put the same punch out there and then just changed the trajectory slightly and instantly knocked him out.
It is really funny that it's two identical straight right hands in a row. He slips the first one and he was like, damn, that was cool. He was like still thinking about how cool that slip was when he got caught by the next one.
I am so slick.
Completely square, fully upright, both hands down. I'm not a hands up guy, as longtime listeners will know, but that doesn't mean hang your hands by your dick and stand up against the corner and wait. That's not good either. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a straight punch KO. It has a nice sort of aesthetic rhythm to it on the replay.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have happened. What's also funny is just before the KO, Nzechukwu with his like hands down style. This is my favorite thing to see about MMA fighters who trick themselves into thinking they're slick now. He's standing there with his hands down, looking all cool and poised. Gaziev takes a step towards him to throw, and he immediately sticks his finger in Gaziev's eyes. Immediately.
Yeah. That's how you use a reach advantage.
It's like the number of times that MMA fighters will posture as if they have any defensive idea whatsoever in their back pocket. And then they get asked one question, and it's like they had no plan. That's such a common occurrence. I guess, you know, it makes sense because winning a fight is very much about vibes and confidence. So if you can convince yourself you get to stand there with your hands down, sometimes, a lot of times, it doesn't matter if you actually have the answer to back it up or not. Your opponent's an MMA fighter too. He's going to look at you and be like, this guy seems dangerous.
Scary.
Yeah. But good for Shamil Gaziev. He knows he's got one round to try to finish a heavyweight opponent, and he was like, you're going to have to wait till round 2 if you want me to believe any of this shit. So.
Yep.
That was it. Overall, I would say a pretty satisfying and entertaining card.
Yeah. It was booked to be like not super relevant fun, and it was, you know, not super relevant fun.
Solid night of fights. A platonically ideal fight night card. More or less.
More or less. You would want perhaps a little more.
Yeah.
A little more relevance up at the top, but yeah, it's just good. It's just a good night of fights.
Yeah. But it wouldn't take all that much more relevance to turn this into a modern UFC pay-per-view, you know, or a numbered event. So I think
that's not it's not a positive.
No, it's not. Oh, next week we'll be back to talk about Nurmagomedov versus Song. This one too, I think. I already took a second glance at it when we before the show today and was like, actually, I think this has more heat than it first appears. I trust that by tomorrow when I'm talking about this with Zane, I'll find at least 5 or 6 fights that are actually quite interesting. It's not that bad.
Mhm.
It's not great,
Yeah.
but it's not that bad.
It's a travel card.
The week after that, we have Dan Hooker versus Saladin Parnasse.
Sure.
That's a main event?
Sure.
Okay. But, Faris Ziam, Axel Sola, Michael Page versus Ruzaboyev, Morgan Charrier, Felipe Lima.
Yep. And then Nathaniel Wood, 4th from the bottom.
Of course. Right where he
Against
belongs.
Myron Santos.
Super dangerous fight that no one will see. Classic
He
Nathaniel
never
Wood.
should have fucked the matchmaker's wife.
No, that was a mistake. Anyway, we'll be back next week to talk about that. Find us on Twitter at Evil Greg Jackson, at Boxing Bush. And we'll talk to you next week. Until then, if you came here today for the finer points of face punching, you came to the right place. This has been Heavy Hands.